So over the last 5 to 10 years, the SMMA social media marketing agency model has become more and more popular. It's such a hot thing, a low cost, scalable business that promises to help anyone escape the 9 to 5 and make 6 figures online, right? But here we are approaching 2025 and the game has changed and platforms have changed as well. Clients have changed, results have changed, competition has changed. So let's ask the real question. Is SMMA still a viable business model at the end of 2024 and in 2025 as well? Or is it a relic of the bygone era? In this video, we're breaking down where the industry stands today, what's working, what's not, and whether your own agency still has a chance that it's worth pursuing as a model to get you to financial freedom, to get you to digital nomadism, whatever lifestyle you want to live. I'm saying this as someone who has built 3 6-figure agencies in the last 18 months. And so let's dive into my take on these points and what you can take away in order to decide if this is the right vehicle for you to pursue and to pour your focus, energy, and attention and resources in 2024 at the end of, and in 2025. So let's dive in. Run with number one, the current landscape of SMMA in 2025. Basically, SMMA is not dead. The playing field looks very different from a few years ago, however, and for starters, niches have exploded. You're no longer just targeting e-commerce, you're no longer just targeting dentists, chiropractors. Now there's more sophisticated niches like the med spa, which is the one we chose, by the way. They're also pretty saturated. There's SaaS companies sprouting out. There's AI startups needing help with scaling their reach, right? Competition, yes, it's super stiff. A lot of people jumped into the SMMA during the pandemic and afterwards. So standing out is definitely tougher, but, and this is key, the competition doesn't mean that this is impossible. Remember, where there's smoke, there's fire. In our experience, whatever we find a saturated niche, that's actually a good sign. It's a good sign. It means the demand is there, as long as the niche is growing faster than the competition is flocking into the space, okay? Cool. So let's talk about AI for a second. Tools like ChatGPT, Jasper, Midjourney, they have automated and optimized and streamlined fulfillment, meaning it's great for efficiency, but it also raises the bar for what clients expect. Agencies that don't leverage AI get left behind because operationally they can't compete, they can't get the same results. And this is actually the next point, which is what's really changed since 2020, since 2018, when this model became really extremely popular. So let me paint a quick picture of how SMMAs have evolved. Back in 2020, it was all about Facebook ads. Back in 2019, before iOS 14, right? The privacy of Apple. But now, privacy updates and tracking issues have made platforms like Facebook and Instagram harder to work with. CPMs are constantly rising. Over the last 5 years, I've spent over $10 million in ads, and I've constantly seen CPMs rise, click-through rates drop, and the targeting model becoming more and more complex to work with. This is no longer enough to just put an ad up and let Facebook do the targeting for you. You now need to understand the layers of the markets, how the market looks like in terms of their awareness, of their problems, of their solutions, of the products that they want to buy, and actually try and respond and address every single one of those layers if you want to be a performant top 1% marketer. Unless if you want to compete with the rest, to only fight for the top to the bottom 5% of the market that's in the market and educated for your services, whether we're talking about your B2B client acquisition as an agency or about your B2C fulfillment if you're doing fulfillment for a local service niche, or if you're doing B2B fulfillment for another agency for their acquisition, this concept holds true across all three of those aspects, okay? And so content is a huge shift. Right now, if you're not offering user-generated content and in-house creative, basically you're not cutting it anymore. If you're not offering these solutions in your packages, you're basically already left behind. And so it's important to find a way to build that sustainably. And obviously the answer is, you guessed it, AI. Now that being said, when everyone's going to be doing AI, unless that thing is going to become so seamless that there won't be no difference between it and reality is going to reign supreme, because that point of touch, that unique approach, is basically going to give you the opportunity to zag when everyone else zigs, okay? Cool. And so my next point is there actually still demand for SMMA? And the answer to that is absolutely. The number of SMMAs is very far outweighed by the number of local businesses that need marketing services. We're talking 50, 60, 70,000 med spas and nurse practitioners alone. We're talking 100,000 plus home improvement and renovation kitchen remodelers. We're talking God knows how many more dentists, chiropractors, and all of these other pretty old standard niches that you've already heard of, car detailers, pool installers, roofers, etc. Not to mention the very new ones, the very niche ones, the AI software solutions, the SaaS that are going to need support, the content creators that are going to need client acquisition as well. And so digital marketing is really not going anywhere. If anything, the demand has grown post-pandemic as more businesses shift online. Emerging industries like Web3, AI startups, and personal brands need help getting seen and getting scaled. And like I said, local businesses too are waking up to the fact that online lead generation is no longer optional. And whether it's real estate, spas, gyms, med spas, they need someone to help them stay in competition. And so what are the pros? What are the pros of SMMA in 2025? First, let's look at the bright side. Why is SMMA still a good model? It's because it requires virtually no capital upfront, right? You can literally start an SMMA with zero money, with zero time, with minimal time, right? And so it's also the most scalable business that you can start, because when it comes to done-for-you services, you're always going to find someone who lacks understanding or knowledge or belief that they're capable of tackling tech and staying abreast it. For someone, for a bystanders, technology seems like it's moving at such a rapid pace that it's just impossible to keep up with it. Not to mention that people are flooded with social media, screaming at them and teaching them all these new things emerging, without realizing that actually that's only splintering their focus, and they don't need all of those things. You just need 20% of all this to get 80% of your results, right? And so as a consultant, as a operator, you're always going to have work to do, right? All you need is a laptop, you need Wi-Fi, and a bit of know-how and a growth mindset, of course. And so secondly, it's also profitable, thanks to geo arbitrage, thanks to the fact that you can still hire resources from countries that are obviously charging less for their hourly rate. You can buy back your time. There are countries that you can't even begin to think of when it comes to scaling your skeleton staff on your entire company on, really, with elastic contractors is what we call them. Basically, you hire them when you need them, you fire them when you don't. It gives you a lot of nimbleness and agility at the beginning, right? And so most people go to the Philippines for that. I'll tell you about one that we discovered recently, Egypt, phenomenal. And I'll let you figure that one out for yourself without giving away too much sauce right now, okay? And yes, the margins are pretty significant. Once you figure out how to land clients and deliver for them and not sell yourself short, the margins are really substantial, really healthy. 40, 50, 60% margins are the mark of a good agency. As you're scaling it, it's okay to go down to 20, 30% if we're talking over 100, 200K per month, okay? And so it's also one of the best vehicles to learn sales, marketing, operations. You're going to learn and bolster every single digital skill set, as well as sales and marketing influence related skill sets, which you will need to build this business. There's virtually no other business model that is as, I want to say, beginner friendly and also as risk-free as SMMA. My first agency, I started purely off referrals, so no capital, 100% margin. The second one, we basically started off a bunch of referrals and the networks, tapping into our networks. And then the third one, we started off ads, entirely off ads. But by that point, we already had the capital to invest in it. And not only that, but we only needed about $500 to get our first 4 or 5 clients. So it was very, very easy on the front end as well. Obviously, the key there is to have a smashing offer, but we'll get into that in another video. Okay, the cons now. Now, in terms of the cons, it's obviously it's harder. It's more challenging to stand out. If you're coming into a SMMA thinking they will just slap together a generic offer and dominate, you're in for a rude awakening. Clients have been burned before. They're very skeptical in some sophisticated markets. And what I mean by sophisticated markets, I mean markets who have been sold and oversold and promised and overpromised, and now they know and understand the service. It's literally barely any differentiation between one agency and the other, and it's getting complex and competitive to fulfill to a point where you can actually keep them happy. And obviously, if you're not constantly innovating with strategies and with tools, you'll basically struggle to keep up. Obviously, crazy, ridiculous guarantees are the name of the day right now. And if you're not making those guarantees, you're also not going to be able to compete. The good news is that you can do them in a way that is tactical and that allows you to hook people on the front end. Again, there's a bit of sauce in there. I'll be happy to share more on that in a separate video. It's one of our most successful sales tactics, and one that is pretty widely adopted by the top marketing agencies. And so basically there is a silver lining even to the seeming doom and gloom. Okay, so what do you need to succeed today? How do you make it work in 2025? First of all, specialize. Riches are in the niches. Okay. Cliche, wow, so cliche, but you have to solve a real pain point to one specific ICP, ideal customer profile. Instead of just running ads, think about how you can provide a full stack solution, end to end. I've said it before, we've said it again. End to end means, or your opportunity to differentiate, to decommoditize, to wear multiple hats for one company. You don't just do ads, you don't just do copy, you don't just do creative, you don't just do leads, you don't just do booked appointments. You're responsible for revenue uplift. You're responsible for the whole thing. When you have the whole thing, you can label it as something that stands out, that no one else can compete with. You slap a sexy name on it. Now it's a new mechanism, a new vehicle. It's something that's harder to compare with something else. Otherwise, you basically made a cake. You made a cake and you gave it a cool name. Otherwise, you're selling ingredients, and it's like people buying rice. Whether I'm buying this rice, whether I'm buying this rice, or gas, right? Gasolina. Okay. Speaking of gasolina, you have to build operations, and you have to love operations, because if you don't deliver results, your agency won't last. You have to build systems that allow you to scale on auto repeat without constantly putting out fires. That's where the gasolina reference came in. Cool. So emerging trends to watch. The SMMA space is most certainly not static. If you want to cruise to the finish line, this is not the space for you. You have to love it. You have to love the process, and you have to keep your eye and a finger on the pulse of the market constantly. The best way to do that is to be in groups of communities, paid communities, free communities. We're part of paid communities. We are going to start our own free community, and we're basically going to share insights and tactics from the trenches as stuff works in real time, because it is quite a bit to tackle for one individual alone. And so what you're seeing is these mini cartels sprouting out, agency owners joining forces with other agency owners, and good for them, man. And tackling it all together, sharing insights, sharing knowledge, cross-pollinating, and winning together. The pie gets bigger for everyone to win. And so that's how I would say you should stay abreast new technologies. And obviously pay attention to the obvious. AI is changing how we run ads, how we write copy, how we generate leads, how fast we do it, how efficiently we do it. If you're not leveraging these tools to automate repetitive tasks, you're falling behind. I'm just reading a book now about how to buy back your time, Dan Martell. And the concept is quite simple. An entrepreneur, even a beginner, can already start to free up their time by working out their effective hourly rates in terms of dollar amount, and then outsourcing anything that's cheaper to outsource than that. And AI is making that possible. Writing your copy with GPT, appointment setting and nurturing leads with bots, all kinds of creative design, media buying with designer AI, right? Okay, so that's basically it. And then so finally, in conclusion, is SMMA starting an SMMA in 2025 viable? You be the judge of that. I think, and I hope I've given you enough information. I've equipped you with enough perspectives to look at it. And also, just look around. Are people still starting SMMAs in 2025? Are they scaling them successfully? Are they hitting 10K per month, 50K per month, 100K per month? Some are hitting 400, 500K per month. The business model is proven. Does it shift? Absolutely. Should you stay ahead of the competition? Should you plan your next 5 moves ahead? Another good book. Definitely you should. But if you're serious about it, then you can do it. It's not so much a game of skill set as it is one of belief and of persistence. And if you found this video helpful, then stick around, because we're sharing our journey to scaling our third agency to 50K per month in the next quarter, and then afterwards to 100K per month. So that is our goal for 2025. If you like this, then share it, stick around, and join our free community when we open it. Until then, get started, don't procrastinate, follow your dreams, and I'm rooting for you to your success. Bye.